Hi, today what we're going to do is we're going to study the heart chakra. But before we start, I'd like to read a poem to you written by Kahlil Gibran. He says, "Love is a night bent down to be anointed, a sky turned meadow, and the stars to fireflies, and love triumphs. The white and green of love beside a lake, and the proud majesty of love in the tower or balcony. Love in a garden or in a desert untrodden. Love is our Lord and Master, and we shall pass into the twilight, perchance to wake to the dawn of another world. But love shall stay, and his finger mark shall not be erased." The reason I did that poem is because we always talk about the heart, and it's always associated with love. And so what do we hope to gain by opening this heart chakra? Well, it's to learn love and compassion for yourself and for others and reach out into the universe. It's also a lift into the universal consciousness, the capacity of love without the conditions, the ability to forgive. And not only that, better health. So I'm going to show you the picture of the modern chakra, heart chakra, and this will be the old chakra that I've learned many, many years ago. So you see how the petals and all, and see how the energy has changed, that this artist has seen the heart chakra in this unique design. And as we go on, some people ask, well, why do we do this? Well, because I'm going to ask you a few questions. And I want you to just write down a simple yes or no, like number 1, yes, number 2, no, or whatever. It's a little self-examination to see if you need any work on the heart chakra. And you're going to be surprised, because we all do. Number 1, do you find it difficult to love or to feel loved? Are you negative or pessimistic? Do you get bored? Are you bossy? Do you feel exhausted, fatigued, and drained most of the time? Do you find difficulty to step back and let others make their own mistake? Are you important? Do you feel important? Are you impatient? Do you let others take advantage of you? Are you difficult to please and often find fault with others and what they do for you? Do you find it difficult to just let go? Do you quickly fall in love when you meet somebody? This is for the younger set that are just out there roaming. And then wonder, why did I do that? Do we feel stressed? Do you feel stressed quite often in your life? Do we have the difficulty to forgive, to give compassion to somebody? Do you get dragged down by other people's pain? Do you feel cut off from the world, wondering, what is love? Are you unable to find that inner peace? And do you pretend to have that inner peace? Now, as you go over this is you can see. Be very honest. I hope you're very honest with yourself, and you'll find most everyone that takes exam knows we have to work on this heart chakra, simply because it's the way we can get along and master our life in our universe. When we master this heart chakra, it helps to enhance our emotional state, our emotional development, and also recognize the power energy called what? Love. That's why I read that poem from Kahlil Gibran. And by the way, I recommend all his poetry on love because it's beautiful. When all the chakras are understood and we connect together with all of them, we are making the bridge the bridge of the sea of matter and consciousness. Understanding that we become the bridge. Isn't that interesting? We become the bridge. This is the difference between a spiritual psychic, a spiritual counselor, and a plain psychic. You got it? Remember this. When they're developed, you can just know that they are reaching the right dimension. And as we travel on this road, so far we traveled up the spinal column, we are stepping through new worlds, as we know. And sometimes we don't want to recognize those individual faults that we have within ourselves. Because, you know, this is the journey. That old memories come up, old pain comes up, discomfort, and then we fear to move into a more integrated new level. We have that fear. But on this journey, our lives from the physical earthly awareness, we will work through and obtain to attract the cosmic consciousness. When we recognize our discomforts and learn to release them into the etheric for purification, we become free. We become free. My truth to all of these studies is the heart chakra is very, very important. Now we know that the location of the heart chakra is where the heart is, right here in the front of your chest, both in the front and in the back. When we say that, well, what do you mean the front and the back? Well, they're finding out in the last 10 years that women who have heart problems get the discomfort right here in the back. So we'll talk about that. The symbol meaning, as I showed you here, it has 12 lotus petals. And the petals contain a triangle that form a six-pointed star. One triangle this way and the other reversed. And that forms a six-pointed star. One pointing up, one pointing down, and it becomes what? Perfect balance. Perfect balance. So the one pointing down is the spirit descending toward the matter. And the one pointing up is the matter rising up toward the spirit. Isn't that interesting? My goodness, when we learn these little things about ourselves and what happens to this energetic system within us, we're going, wow, God made this wonderful miracle that works all together. And He's given us these wonderful teachings from all over, from a higher consciousness. All of these lessons have come to us, from Ledbetter on down, from Rudolf Stein on down. The color of this chakra is green, like the healing color, which represents balance, harmony, and love. And then when we see, it's a reflection with the pink around it. The pink is around, and the center is like a pinkish glow. And that's when the heart is fully opened, ready to accept the love that you have, that connection with the divine. You know, when two people are in love, you see this wonderful pink aura go all around them. That's because their heart chakras are in that moment of love. And pink is also the sign of a healthy baby's skin. It's also the most powerful color you could ever send to anybody in any healing. Remember, pink, because they're sending the pink out into the world, which represents that love, that lightness, that newness. And you know, pink is a good sign for every female to have in their physical parts. their vagina, as it's healthy, is very pink in color. That's what a doctor looks for. He looks for that pink. And also, pink is the central color of the spectrum in all the colors. Isn't that wonderful to know? Now, the activation usually starts with this heart chakra that it usually starts to activate is between 12 and 14. And when I'm saying, remember the first love that you had, the first crush that you had. Little boys love their teacher, little girls love the little boy that pulls their hair, that kind of thing. And it's the love that you start recognizing for a family unit. And then between 21 and 28, this is usually when marriage comes into play and you really start getting serious about the one you love and the one you want to spend the rest of your life with. And then we focus again on this love bug when we're 42 to 46. A lot of times they'll say, well, you know, that's a 7-year itch going on here. When married couples, you'll see that what happens, that's when a lot of problems can focus if this heart is not correctly opened. And then again, when we become about 72 to 76, we have another change. And that change again is we focus on God's love. We look at all the family we loved, all the things that we've had and we loved, and we start saying, well, now most people at this time know that these are the areas that we have to start getting prepared for our new life. So we start extending that love. Now let's talk about special connections here. The heart chakra is the center of the central power channel, the heart. It is the middle chakra that connects our humanity with the divinity. Remember I said matter into spirit, spirit into matter. And also it shares that with the solar plexus. Remember, you get that feeling in the solar plexus. Also is connected, the heart chakra is also connected with the base, the root chakra. That's when it's like negative and we think we're in love and we're not, you know, that kind of thing, and we jump to conclusions. But when the solar plex tells us, then sometimes, see how they all work together. And this, the gland that is associated with this is the thymus gland. The thymus gland, because it involves the immune system. Now, they know when the immune system is weak, when they check into a person that has like different things with different levels of their immune system, it's that they didn't have that connection with that love, maybe from the time they were a child, and it continues up until their immune system gets affected. So this is very good to know when a healer is working on these people with immune deficiencies. And that's also like someone with HIV, that's an immune deficiency here. And the senses that we are talking about are touch and emotion. Touch, how often when we hug, do we feel good about something? And when we get emotional, we can feel good about it. And usually that comes from the heart. And you'll see how the heart, we feel something with great compassion and love, and we tear up, and that's the emotion of love. Now, the physical association here is the heart chakra governs the health, of course, of the physical heart. And the major blood vessels in the heart, the respiratory system, and your immune system. That's what we were talking about. It also governs the breast, the chest, under the arms. What are we talking about here? The palms of your hand and the thoracic spine. That's all in the chest area. Now this is all related to love, to the heart chakra. And this is why it's important that we get it under opened and get rid of all the things that we have in there that we don't need. Also, the physical information that we received from Dr. Randolph Stone was, it has vitality and balance, and it's polarity therapy. Very good to balance the heart chakra. Because the heart itself The heart is a muscle, and this expresses itself in a spiral function and formation, in a spiral formation. The heart is the center of the resonance in the body, meaning the tone or the character of the complete body. The four chambers of our heart attune to the four elements of earth. The four elements, which are earth, water, fire, and air. Wow. And you know, the heartbeat, that we hear our heartbeat, that's supporting for the overtones of the cosmic attunement that sustains all life in our body. Doesn't that sound right? Supposing, I wish they could put a stethoscope on the Mother Earth and hear her beat and then hear our own heartbeat. Wouldn't that be interesting if we could really do that? Might be a good experiment, who knows? But evidently, so the system of life that we have is heart-shaped, and it's like a radiant, sacred flame. Now we talk about, you often heard about the threefold flame of the heart, which is green, pink, and bluish, I think, when you see the heart and that flame. So it's shaped as a heart. And now let's talk about that air element. The air, of course, we know, rules movement. The movement of our body. Actually, you'll say air. Yeah, air. It's movement of our body. We can move through that air. Also, it's associated with knowledge, because through the element of the air, we can receive knowledge. The knowledge and love and things that are of light and spirited. And so often we forget that. Let's look at, it represents freedom. You know, think of a bird flying through the air. That seems so free, doesn't it? And it also represents openness, freshness. When we speak of having space sometimes, what's the expression that we use? We usually say, boy, I need room to breathe. Okay? See how it's all associated with the thoracic system up here. So, and we know air is different from the other elements in quite throughout the chakras, because we know, remember, the root chakra was the earth, which is solid, which is a foundation. The sacral chakra is the water. It stays on the bottom of like the ocean. You know, it stays on the bottom. Water stays, connects like the ocean. The solar plexus is fire. It moves that energy. It moves the energy. Your solar plexus move energy. Now remember, we had the Ida, the cooling energy, that's negative, and the pina colada, the heating energy, the male and the female. Now, we know that the left nostril is the cooling. We know that breathing in the right nostril is the positive energy coming in. So we have to have a positive and a negative for good flow, really. But we have to keep it in what? In a good balance. Now, the etheric body, as we talk about, as you know what the etheric body is, it's the body around us. That's about 30 inches, I would say, probably 20 to 30 inches away from the physical. It all depends. Everybody has a different view. And that's okay, because everybody has somewhat of a different truth. When one person say, this is the truth, this is the way it is, you know, that's not right, because everybody has their own feeling on how things are, and you will know. Okay, usually the aura, when it comes to the heart chakra, remember I told you about people that are in love, they usually have this wonderful rose or pinky color around them. Well, the color is rose. And this identifies with the first level astral body on the plane. It's associated. And that means this astral body or plane that it's in is the realm of consciousness that can bridge us between what? The matter and the spirit. It's all in this level, in this astral plane right here. And on experimental levels, we can have the physical, emotional, and intellectual planes, all within this one plane. It is also believed that in this plane that's around our body, or plane, when we sleep, we can do the soul traveling. Which so often people wonder, well, how? Well, if you're in the right frame of mind, I guess you can go anywhere in the world. And it'll be beautiful. But remember, the astral plane also represents a level of consciousness where transformation is made possible. That's what we're here for, transformation of different things, for the progression of what? Of progression of our soul and into our lives, in the rest of our life. What this means is the heart is neutral and it's the center of all connections. The heart connects it all. Some believe. No one really knows. Some believe this is where the silver cord is connected. Now, that no one knows. So when someone tells you the silver cord's coming here, the silver cord's coming here, or from here, no one really knows. So remember that. Not saying they're wrong, it's just their belief. Now, what are some of the attributes? Mentally, one of the attributes is receive that love without judgment. This is the chakra, when we have it fully working, gives us the support that we wanted as a child. So often, with this heart chakra, remember we're going through the childhood things with the first three. Well, this also absorbs part of that uneasiness in those chakras. So, like as a child, if we didn't feel supported and loved, if we don't clean this up, we're going to still have that feeling. Remember the question I asked you about loneliness? Do we feel lonely? Do we feel alone in the world? Sometimes that's because of this heart chakra. And we can do something about that. Okay, also another attribute is feeling. This opens up the activities which will create the good feelings of love and goodwill. This connects when we feel this connection, when we get it right, we will feel that divine source. Remember we talked about the chords and the strings, a little bit about that? Well, sometimes we just have to ring them chords a little tighter and bring them in, that we have that connection. And we also have a physical. And the physical attribute here is it opens up a relationship for us and dreams that we are able to manifest for our highest good. That's the big one. That we can manifest what we truly want to do in our life, because we'll be clear in our heart. Do you ever hear someone when they're 50 say, "When I grow up"? That's a symbol that we need to get this together. Okay, and the spiritual attribute is, this is the place where love achieves the balance with its reality and with the universal laws. It keeps us continually open to the needs of our soul as it progresses through the growth and development. And we need to remember, as a child of God, we are perfect and whole in His love. And I think that's so hard for people to refer to. If a child doesn't get any spiritual guidance, you'll find out when they get like 8 or 9, they're going to start doing it on their own a little bit. And that's good, because it's a memory that they're holding on to, and they're just opening up to that now. Remember I said the heart starts to open up between 12, but I think sometimes it opens up earlier now because of the speed up of the earth and the speed up of these children coming into the earth. Okay, some of the functions of this is to love, to learn how to love and develop spiritually, to spiritually unfolding in the complete love of divine God or Creator, whatever you want to call that wonderful energy. It also will connect you to compassion. You'll understand the difficulties of others while not resorting to sympathy. Let me repeat that. compassion is caring on a level that you feel you can give them your love without the sympathy that some people express. Like most people when they're ill, they don't want to hear you say, I am so sorry. They don't want to hear when someone dies, their husband's laying there, I am so sorry. All they need is to show your compassion by maybe giving them a hug. You don't even have to exchange a word. When it comes from the heart, there's no words to compete when you have a heart-to-heart message. Words don't mean a thing. Also, empathy, the ability to extend ourselves to another person's situation without getting involved. Now, I'm giving you a lot of the things that I learned in CPE, chaplain school, which is wonderful as a healer or as someone that's working with people, because it's so often you have to have the empathy, extend yourself, but you can't get involved in the situation itself, because that situation can really affect you. Now, and accept it. We have to learn to accept things as they are right now and change ourselves, that we can show the world that they will also follow your example. And peace, we talk about peace. Only peace we can have is if we heal the heart. That's the biggest peace of all. We don't have peace, everything happens. Everything goes. So our heart, we really have to concentrate on healing all of these things within our heart. All our emotions and all the hidden things that are stuff, all the hurts, all the pains that we've had. And another thing, when we have this heart healed, we're going to respect each other. So I want you to look around and see the respect that's involved in your friend, in your community with your friends. And you'll see if they are halfway have a healing heart, if they respect each other. Consideration of other people. The big thing is non-attachment. Wow, non-attachment. This means real love is the freedom and joy of seeing others grow and being fulfilled. That is setting yourself free. And also, bonding. When we love someone, we develop bonds between our heart chakras. Now, I'm not just saying a physical love or a husband and wife. I'm talking about love as a friendship. It's a bonding, and that bonding will always stay there. And that bonding means you can have a disagreement, a terrible disagreement, but yet you can come to a realization that you love each other and it's okay. Sometimes you'll see families like that. And then you'll see some families here, some families there. But that bond of love, if it's strong enough, they'll come together. And if not, of course, they'll go their separate ways. And there's nothing you can do about it. So you don't try to push on it. But I like to call them heartstrings. Every time our heartstring, we send a heartstring out to someone that we love. Isn't that nice that we have that bond? Also, when it's also a grief, when we grieve, as the heart chakra allows us to love deeply, it also allows us to have the natural function of grieving when bonds are broken. Does that make sense? It's called a classical broken heart, okay? Usually when you have someone that you really, usually you'll find that in people that get divorced and they love each other and the one is just devastated and it's really, and they grieve like someone died. And it also will let us grieve when someone dies. But now if you believe the way we believe, that grieving process is you're going to miss them, but you know that they're in a much better place. That's my truth. So not everybody cries and carries on when someone dies. And we got to understand, everybody grieves differently. And the biggest thing here on this heart chakra